Hi, I'm Jack Peterson with Managing for Mission. Managing for Mission specializes in administrative consulting to faith-based schools. Because faith-based schools are so heavily reliant on fundraising to accomplish their mission, I wanted to talk briefly today about the keys to development success. Now, this talk can be brief because there are only 5 core requisites. The good news is we only need to focus on these 5. The bad news is we need to focus on all 5. Each of these requisites is like a link in a chain, and each needs to be strong, because if any one is weak, we'll fail to reach our development potential. The 5 core requisites are case, prospects, asks, askers, and resources. Let's take a look at each one. Case refers to the reason why people support our school. It's what motivates donors to give. Now we might ask, is this simply another way of saying what the school needs or its vision? And while the case is built around the needs and vision of the school, if we truly want to motivate people to give, we need to build it around their needs, their passions, and their vision. A truly compelling case will align the aspirations of the school with the aspirations of its donors. And this brings us to the second core requisite, prospects. Clearly, to accomplish our development objectives, we need enough prospective donors who have a capacity to give. But for this link in the chain to be strong enough to support the whole development program, we don't just need a list of names. We need to know how to contact these people, and we need to know about their giving capacity and interests. Now, why is that? Because each person must be approached differently. We owe it to our donors and our stakeholders to spend development dollars wisely. So in order to be successful, we need enough prospects, but we also need to know enough about them to do the asks properly. This brings us to our third requisite, asks. We need a way to present our case to our donors and to invite them to join us in our work. And each ask is going to be different. Again, one size does not fit all. We need an efficient way to ask large groups of donors who can only give small gifts, and we also need a handcrafted way to ask donors who are capable of making a substantial contribution to our mission. We know we need to attract those major gifts, but if we over-rely on auctions and phone-a-thons and mailings, that's just not going to happen, or at least not very often. This brings us to our fourth requisite, askers. This is often the bottleneck. We can have a great case, we can have plenty of prospects and ways of making the asks, but it all comes down to people actually doing it. Is our development staff making those asks, or are they too preoccupied with other activities and just can't get around to it? If so, our development potential will lie outside of our reach. Now, we can recruit the assistance of volunteers, but remember, volunteers have to be recruited, trained, and supported properly. And this requires an investment of time. That investment will pay back, however, if it generates enough people to do the asking. And this brings us finally to resources. It takes money to raise money, and a bottleneck will appear if we underestimate the amount of investment needed. Spending $2,500 on research and renderings and travel just to make one ask may seem extravagant, but if that ask is for $250,000, we'd be foolish not to spend the money to do the ask right. So don't be distracted by all the background noise. Focus on the 5 core requisites. If these 5 are strong, your development effort will be moving toward its potential, and you'll be strengthening your ability to accomplish the mission that God has entrusted to you. I'm Jack Peterson, and I thank you for your work on behalf of faith-based education.